Hello guys, welcome back. So I got this really weird dream from Odin and I just figured it out and I'm like, oh god, no. No. I'm pretty damn sure that Odin's turned me into a conservative. All I need is a little fine tuning and I'm sure I'll be totally conservative and I'm like, no. Um There was a turning point for me. We usually don't talk politics on this channel because it really has nothing to do with how you practice your pagan. Well, I guess you could argue it does, but that's a completely other subject. Um, but we really don't talk politics on the channel because it's not a political channel. But Odin is a god who is like, you are going to go out and you are going to look at these other viewpoints and you're going to get past that trigger that was taught to you in a liberal arts school. Oh my god. He is conservative. And you're going to see if there's any merit in their arguments because you also have this modern sociology. Use it, goddammit, thing for a change. So I've been going around for like the past year or so, and yeah, I actually work on myself. And, what do they believe? What does the left wing believe? What does the right wing believe? What does the center believe? What does this term mean? And the problem is, in America, anybody can pick up a label, so it's kind of meaningless. Like, you can say you're a moderate, and what you mean is you're in the middle of the road, and people are like, well, what does that mean? Does it mean you're left wing? Does it mean you're right wing? Does it mean you're in the middle of the road? I'm like, you know what? I don't know. Damn it, American politics. But as I'm watching, John Stossel had to leave ABC because he became a conservative. And as I'm watching them, I'm like, they're actually not the evil, terrible people that they say they are on CNN. I don't agree with everything this man is saying, but he's actually talking a lot of common sense. Oh my god, I'm a conservative now. I'm thinking, well, I don't know that I'm totally conservative, and we're going somewhere with this, but he's talking common sense. And one thing I will admit the left does is that every time the left disagrees with you, you're a Nazi and you're a racist and you hate homosexuals and you do all this other horrible stuff. And you don't sit down and really talk because when one person in the disagreement starts to scream, usually everybody starts to scream. And I had to watch a lot of hard videos because I could like sort of feel Odin looking in the back like, it's time you watch this stuff. And they made sure I watched stuff like people that believe in traditional marriage and everything else, and it wasn't. They're not exactly. I hate to have to say this as a gay person. They're not exactly homophobic. It's they just believe in this one form of marriage should be all it should be, and I might not agree with that, but now I see where they're coming from. It's not they're homophobic, is they think a child has the best chance having a male and a female um guardian. And they said male and female guardian. They didn't seem to really care if it was just two people living together or whatever. And the one woman they asked that, runs this one thing, she said she really wouldn't care if a gay couple did get the child, if that was the best for the child, but they would prefer to start out, with adoption, to start out with a straight family because they're just going to get the male female dynamic, whatever. I'm like, okay, I still don't totally agree with it as a gay person, but I can see where she's coming from. I can appreciate that if you are straight, you think that's the best thing in the world. Where if you're gay, you're like, what's the problem? And nobody's talking, that's the problem. And it was just this thing of watching all this conservative stuff, and I'd had this weird dream. And in this dream, I had found some coins, and underneath, I think, like a gumball machine of all things. And then I was walking through kind of like this flea take thing, and I found like a bunch of like little packets on the table that were free. I knew they were free because I think it was labeled free or something. But I accidentally found a Bible thing. And I didn't even know it because I didn't see it when I picked it up. But as I'm leaving, something tells me, look at your hand. And I looked, and I think it was like one of those Precious Moments Bible things. It was like a quarter. And I'm like, oh my God, I like actually have started to walk out of the building. They're gonna think I'm trying to steal from them. So I took it over to the cash register, which was a restaurant, and it's one of those kind of dreams. And I said, I am sorry. I said, I thought this was all free. I don't know how I picked this up. I said, but just so you know, I'm not trying to steal from you. Could you please go through all of this stuff and I make sure, I will pay you for it. My punishment for telling the truth was that I was forced with 4 or 5 other people that had done this, totally picked this stuff up by accident to sign our names and our phone numbers. And we were forced to take a job in this restaurant. And I kept trying to tell them, I'm not qualified for this job. I have low vision. I have health issues. I can't work here. And they're like, oh no, you're going to work here. And I'm like, this doesn't even make sense. I know there are a lot of jobs I can't do because you have to be able to read, the temperatures, and you have to be able to do this other stuff, and you have to be able to move in a timely manner to work in a kitchen. And then the chef was kind of like interviewing me, and he put me on the spot. He goes, well, what if I put you on, the night crew? And I'm like, well, actually, that's great because I like to work at night because. And he starts to scream at me. I didn't ask what you wanted. I asked, what if I put you on the night crew? And I'm really upset because the way I'm going to approach this is like an interview and say, well, this is why I excel working at night. That's what you're supposed to do in an interview. And he's not letting me do the right thing. But I got the job anyway, so I got a job I didn't want for telling the truth, and I was going to be forced to take this job whether I wanted it or not. And then I woke up. And I'm like, what the hell was that about? I was forced to take a job I'm not suited for because I turned something in that I didn't intend to steal. It just, like, actually popped into my hand. And I was just kind of vaguely thinking about it, and Loki's like, well, that's kind of how the dream world works. Stuff will pop into your hand and everything else, and you'll be set up unfairly. You were unfairly set up. There was nothing you could do, and you told the truth. You could have kept on walking. He said you told the truth. You went back and you did what you thought was the right and honorable thing. And I was like, well, what did it have to do with, this precious moments thing? And he's like, well, think about it. You took something in that you were given, put in your hand without your prior knowledge or consent, and you're trying to give it back because you really don't want it. And they're insisting you pay for it. The insult on top of that is they're insisting you pay for this thing that you didn't want in the first place. And he said, could it be any more obvious? He says, and your punishment was that since you tried to give them back something you didn't want, they were forcing you to pay for it. They did make you pay for it, and they did make you, they didn't punish you. They didn't call the cops or anything. But they forced you to take a job you weren't qualified for because they weren't going to listen to you. He goes, no matter what you did, you couldn't get out of that system, could you? And I'm like, no. He goes, is a metaphor coming through yet? Oh. So even if I take back the religion that I grew up in, and, I'm not bashing raising your children in religion, by the way, and I try to give it back, the punishment's going to be I can never escape this society that's dominated by that religion. Look, he's like, and we just came up with that, like, within the last couple minutes. I wasn't that astute this morning. And it was kind of like a Loki style thing, Odin style thing of you have to examine your beliefs. I know we've been talking about that a lot, and I know people haven't been happy and the watch time's been going down, but you really have to, every so often, pick up all your beliefs and shake them and see, do you believe this because you were raised in a society or raised in a family that has those beliefs, and do you still believe them? It's very scary to take all of your sacred beliefs and go, and not just religious beliefs. Everything we believe in this country is sacred. Oh my God. Whatever your political party is, whatever your political views, oh, it's all sacred. You can't examine it. You should examine it because you usually believe the things you've been taught. And if you've only been taught one thing, you can't know if that's what's right for you or not. It's not this side's good, that side's evil. It's this side believes this side believes that. As I've been, going around seeing what the left believes, what the right believes, what do moderates believe, what do people that just don't give two shits believe. You see that some people will just take their position and they don't care the other side's evil. They're not going to listen. And some people are actually like, and I've seen it a lot more on the right actually than I have on the left, that they're actually kind of calm and they're like, okay, I know we're not going to agree, but let's sit down and talk about why we don't agree. And I'm like, they actually want to have this conversation. Maybe it would help if people on the left didn't scream so much and wave signs and get angry because, if it had happened to a speaker from the left, people on the left would have lost their damn mind. Now, again, this is not a political channel, but it was like, I can see how it really doesn't matter. Take away left, right. It really doesn't matter. If a person of your group was trying to make a speech, whatever group it is, and they were getting shouted down by whatever you think the opposition is, because you already have opposition in your mind, you would be so pissed off. But if a person of the opposition was making a speech, and your party, whatever it is, was shouting them down, it could be ketchup on hot dogs versus nothing on hot dogs. It could be that silly. You would think it's okay because those are the bad guys. Those are the guys over there. They're wrong. So we can sit here and we can shout at them, and we can scream at them, and we can say, get out of here. I'm like, no wonder we have a country the way we do, because we can no longer have civil discourse in this country. We really can't. We can't do anything. And I think Odin is naturally conservative, not in the sense of American conservatism, but in the fact that you have to be able to sit down and talk to people. Just yelling doesn't actually serve anything. Like, the people that troll on YouTube, the only thing they're going to do usually is push you further in and entrench you deeper. If they really don't want you to hold your beliefs, they should have reasonable discourse, not just yell at you. So I am losing my voice, so I'm going to cut it short. But if you guys like what you see, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.